Hope you're having a good evening today, or a great afternoon if you're further east and or further west. I mean, somewhere in the world. I hope you're listening. It's 9 o'clock at night for me, and maybe you can figure out where I am. I'm here tonight to talk to you about the 80-10-10 retreats. I want to tell you what they are, what they feel like, what they taste like, what you'll experience, why I'm so excited about them, why I'm still running retreats after more than 30 years of offering health-changing opportunities to people. I want the events and the retreats that I offer to be the best experience you've ever had. And many people have told me that their time at a FoodnSport retreat has in fact been the best thing they ever did for themselves. But I want you to know why they'll be so good for you and what opportunities are available in terms of how you can benefit, what you can expect to get, how you can reach your goals, and why the 80-10-10 retreats really are so worth coming to. Before I do that, however, I'd like to spend a few minutes talking to you about the concept behind all of our FoodnSport events, why we run them the way they do, why we do the specific type of education that, to my knowledge, only happens at FoodnSport events. And that's because there really are two basic models in health. There's the medical model and there's the hygienic model. And the medical model is the one we were probably all raised with. It's the one that it's so everywhere that nobody even thinks about it. It's the slant that your doctors come to you from. It's the slant that the alternative medical people use. It's the way that television and radio and magazines are all geared to promote. They own everything, and they stay in business if you're sick. The medical model basically expresses itself that there's two different ways of acting. You can act one way when you're healthy, and you act a completely different way when you're sick. And that's their basis. That's their goal, is to suppress disease, to suppress symptoms. The hygienic model works in a completely different fashion. The hygienic model talks about the substances, forces, the influences and conditions that are going to be responsible for your health, and suggests that whether you're ill or well, whether you're seeking great health or you have great health, that we use the exact same substances, forces, influences, and conditions, rest and sleep and exercise and sunshine and specific food, etc., and that we modify them every day, every hour, every moment to meet our specific needs and abilities. I mean, can you really imagine that idea that we're taught just say no to drugs unless we're sick, because drugs will make you sick if you're well, but they'll make you well if you're sick? How could a pill be that smart? They tell us that milk will make you congested if you're sick, so avoid it. But the rest of the time, milk is really good for you. How does the milk know if you're sick or well? I mean, it just can't be, to my way of thinking, it just can't be that a pill is so smart to know when to make you sick and when to make you well. The medical model is basically geared around 5 M words. So when we're talking about the medical model and you say, don't say the M word, well, which M word comes to your mind? Probably some of you are thinking medicine, and you'd be right. You might be thinking money, and you'd be right. You might be thinking, well, what else comes to mind? Are you thinking or are you waiting for me to just tell you? How about if I just tell you? First, the medical system is set up to teach you how to maintain your health. Maintain your health at whatever status it is, including maintain your sickness. And so you might hear a phrase such as, here, just take these meds before every meal, and you can go on leading a normal life. I don't think it's so normal to have to take meds before every meal, but you can maintain a normal life if you just take these drugs. They're maintaining sickness. They medicate you. They manage you. How many people have you heard of? I've heard of thousands of people say, well, my doctor says if I don't do it his way, he won't be my doctor anymore. Where's the good heart in that? Where's the caring for people? Oh, they manage you. You need to get this operation and you need to get it immediately. They don't even mention that there might be alternatives. They manage you really tightly, and they're taught how to do so in school, and that's not wrong, because some people need strong guidance. But it can go a little too far. Obviously, they monitor you. Doctors don't touch you. Their instruments touch you, and they monitor. Oh yes, your blood sugar is a little high today, Mrs. Jones, or your blood pressure is a little low. They monitor you all the time to see how you're doing, but they never take the time to tell you how to get well. Now, I've talked to a lot of doctors who say they know how to get you well, but that patients don't really want to know. Patients want a pill. To me, that's not a reason to keep secret how to get well. Now, hygiene is very simple. It's the science of human health. Straight off the page, it's the science of human health. And as mentioned, the different things we need from sun and fresh air, sufficient rest, gregariousness, laughs, hearing music, all the things that make life worth living. One of the cool things about making life worth living and the essentials for health is that every single one of them feels good. From being active when you feel like being active, from getting a good night's sleep, food that just tastes pleasing to your palate and all of your senses, human touch, it all feels good. This is one of the key indicators of whether or not we're doing things that are good for us. One of the other keys is that health is free. And I just think it's so magnificent that health can come for free. There's an old expression, what do you think, it just grows on trees? Well, yes, fruit just grows on trees. I understand not every tree is free today, but in nature, squirrels don't pay for their food, deer don't pay for their food, fish don't pay for their, nobody pays for their food. The model in nature is that not only food is free, but everything is free, and health is certainly free. This doesn't mean that you don't have to earn it daily. Of course you have to earn it. It doesn't come automatically. You have to live a healthy life and participate in those things that result in health. at which point health is the natural outcome. A lot of people think that hygiene is about avoiding doctors, and it's not. That's not the point. When we try to simplify it down and just go, oh, well, then I'll just stay away from the doctor. No, there's times to see a doctor. There's times to get information from a doctor. There's times to utilize their services. Hygiene is about taking the information you have and using it in the most intelligent way you can. If you can't see very well because your vision's really bad, and you've done all of the vision improvement exercises there could possibly be, you've been to the best experts, and finally they say, gee, you might want to consider getting glasses. Well, why not? Let's see the world. If your arm's cut off at the shoulder, go see a doctor. Let him sew the arm back on. Let him stop the bleeding. And at that point, I wouldn't even tell the doctor how to do his job. Eventually, I found that so many people didn't really understand what I was talking about that I had to write a book in order to get an uninterrupted chance to have my say. And I wrote the 80-10-10 diet, expressing that caloronutrient ratio of carbohydrates to proteins to fats, using whole, fresh, ripe, raw organic plants because those are the most health-causing, nutritious, pleasing, best for us, environmentally sound, economically sound, in every way, the best for us is to eat whole, fresh, ripe, raw, organic plants. And to do so in a ratio where more than 80% of our calories come from carbohydrates, less than 10% from protein, and 10% from carbohydrates. It's a sane pattern. It's recommended by medical doctors, sports scientists, the people who study human intelligence, people who look at human performance of all kinds, even the people trying to help us prevent disease, such as cancer and heart disease. When we eat enough fruits and vegetables to meet our requirements, we can beat all cravings. And it's not that the food gets you well, it just supplies what you need, as opposed to food that makes you sick. 80-10-10 is flexible. You can change your foods according to your likes and dislikes. Things can vary throughout the year. You can eat incredibly simply. I mean, I just peeled bananas and ate them for lunch. But you could eat incredible fine cuisine, and we teach how to make exquisite, exotic meals using 80-10-10 as our starting base and the foods from 80-10-10 as our only choices. It takes some time to learn to eat 80-10-10 and really get through the challenging points, but you can pick it up in a matter of days if somebody shows you the basic model, as we do at our retreats. You can pick it up in days. Does that mean that you're going to master going to weddings, Christmas dinners, family outings, business meetings? Well, that might take a little more practice. I could see it taking years to really get it down to a fine science. Because how many Christmas dinners are you going to get to practice that? To where you can do it perfectly every time, at every meal, always. But until then, you'll have the basics. And what you do most of the time is way more important than the odd exception that occurs just now and then. Let me tell you, for those of you who don't know me, just a little bit about who I am. I graduated from chiropractic college in 1983 and opened a private practice in Georgia and practiced there for some years before moving to Florida and practicing in Florida. In total for 20 years. I ran a fasting center for a decade in Florida and had my first retreat event, Health and Fitness Week, in 1996. We've had them every year since, sometimes 2 and even occasionally 3 per year ever since 1996. I offered a walking tour in 2001 that was so popular that we've had it every year ever since. The Culinary Skills Program started in 2007, a year after the 80-10-10 book came out, when people started saying, well, it's great eating simply, but I also want to know how to make food for friends and family and guests and parties and all the things that you might make something a little more fancy. Can we do it with 80-10-10? Well, yes, of course we can. And I've since introduced books and ebooks that show people how to make really styling meals, while there are many people now chefing 80-10-10. So hopefully we've learned a bit and now can look at the retreats themselves. Retreats are for people who want to succeed on 80-10-10, and we want to get to it now. You don't need to make all the same mistakes over and over and over again. You might as well learn from people who are already succeeding. If you want to add more variety into your program, if you want to learn how I understand 80-10-10 after more than 20 years of using that as my main food source, in fact, my only food source. If you want to impress others, if you're trying to convince family to come, if you want to see your own health just reach its pinnacle, brilliant eyes, brilliant skin, lose the excess weight. I've seen people lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks eating 3 meals a day at a retreat. I've seen people change their skin so much that in 1 week they were in tears when they looked at their own before and after photos, which we show to everyone at every event. I've seen people overcome major eating issues and break free from addictions, and of course make more friends to the point of literally gaining a FoodnSport family. At an 80-10-10 retreat, you'll leave the retreat just waiting to come back. And so many people come back again and again just to be with the family. We're offering a new retreat this year called the 80-10-10 Food and Lifestyle Retreat. It's shorter than most of our others. It's for beginners, and it's for people who want to absolutely get on track right now. If you want to quit the guesswork, if you want to just be shown, if you want to touch on all of the topics that are absolutely spot on to what beginners go through or what people trying to figure out what is wrong so that they just can't get over some hurdle with 80-10-10. The food and lifestyle retreat will just be there for you. You're going to meet other people who are on the same path. You no longer have to feel like you're the only one. I've met now 7 individuals who have come to me from Holland on 80-10-10. 7 people. And each of them has said to me, oddly enough, I am the only person in Holland doing 80-10-10. Now we know that can't be. Come to a food and sport event. Come to the food and lifestyle retreat and meet people who are following the same program as you are, and make friends and share experiences. And avoid the traps and the pitfalls and all the different sidetracking that you could fall into by just coming to our one event. The Health and Fitness Week is the first event I started. It's my premier event of the year. It's the one that has pretty much every year we have more staff than we do guests, but that's pretty common at food and sport events. Food and Sport offers Health and Fitness Week every year with a slightly different focus. This year's focus is fundamentals. I like it. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're offering fundamentals of health and fitness. And so if you've been trying to reach specific fitness goals and haven't been able to get there, we'll show you how. If you want to move up to the next level, we'll show you how. If you want to create a fitness routine that's customized and personalized, not only to get you the fitness you want, but to get you the physique you want, we'll show you how. If you want to be empowered so that you understand why, how, and how much to train to get the best results, we're going to give it to you on a silver platter 3 times a day. Of course, everything is optional, but if you want to train 3 times a day before every meal, you're more than welcome. We'll show you how to evaluate your own fitness. We'll show you so much more with the best of everything, including the best instructors that I can possibly bring to an event. This year, I'm proud to announce the Women's Physique Week. This is going to be special. It's fun to see the people smiling, even while they're squatting. And that's because they really were having that good of a time. Women's Physique Week is for women who wish to rise like cream to the absolute pinnacle of what they can be. It's for those of you who want to explore and utilize every bit of potential that you've got within you. You want to develop your self-esteem and your inner strength. You want to build up the physique that you want to have, custom made to you. You can sculpt it. You can drop the excess weight, get rid of the emotional eating, find the energy to be, well, I think women are super already, but to be the super woman and be happy about doing that. We run an event called the Science of Health and Fitness. This week is primarily geared to coaches and personal trainers, but it's usually filled by athletes and people who want to be as fit as they can get. They want to understand not just how to train like we teach at Health and Fitness Week, but why? What's the thought process behind doing it this way? What is it that will make my training efficient and effective? Why do I have to spend X amount of time in recovery? And how do I know if I'm increasing my chances for injury, or when I'm overtraining, when it's overwork. I mean, there's a lot to know. How much to feed, when to feed, and understanding the science behind all that and getting as deep as we can into how muscles contract and what goes on with them. If you're a trainer, the average trainer goes home and raises his rates by $25 an hour. They felt that the week was that effective for them. A lot of people have heard about Banana Island of late, and I know a lot of people, this is your introduction to Banana Island. So the idea was one that I came up with years ago, to talk to myself, put myself on an imaginary island where I had no option but to just eat bananas, because that's all there was. Well, I'll tell you what, when you're on an island where it's just bananas and that's all there is, you're really glad for bananas. Your relationship with yourself changes, and so does your relationship with bananas. If you want to give your digestive system a chance to recover from eating things that just haven't been working that well, Banana Island is the place. It's our emotional week. Every lecture, every afternoon is designed to look at the emotional side of how and why we eat the way we do. It's the most supportive event. Practically everybody who comes to the event cries at one point or another, and they're glad of it. It's a good thing, and they get a lot of support when they're doing it. It's a place that's very, very safe, and we don't just eat bananas. Bananas are the main theme at our Banana Island, but it's a Banana Island retreat. Bananas are the main theme. Bananas are served at every meal, but so are a lot of greens, lettuce and celery and cucumber, and occasionally the odd other bit of fruit pops in along with bananas. You might see a date, or you might see a fig. But we make peace with bananas and come to terms that we're so happy to eat that we can pay attention to other things in life besides just what's for dinner. As I mentioned, Culinary Skills Week came out of a cry, a demand for someone to show us, how do you make 80-10-10 food people-friendly? Because when your family comes to eat dinner at your house and all you do is cut a watermelon into 4 pieces, they're not that impressed, and they're going to go home. Oh, they might even stop for pizza on the way home. But they're going to go home and they're not going to just embrace 80-10-10 because of that. But if you can give them food that really catches their attention, food they love, you can make converts, and they can see the same light that you saw. If you want to be trained by the best chefs in 80-10-10, chefs that I've trained, and chefs that were world-class chefs who then came to 80-10-10, you can learn at Culinary Skills Week. It's an immersion program. You spend a lot of time in the kitchen. You'll be making the meals. And if you want to have the most fun with food that you've ever had, Culinary Skills Week is the place. You don't want to miss it. Last year we came up with the idea of the culinary skills professional. And how do we train such a person? Well, they go through Culinary Skills Week, and they've got the basics. But now they're going to become a professional. They want to really get good and be critiqued every day for 2 more weeks to function as a 80-10-10 chef in a real life situation. And so we run food and sport events parallel to culinary skills professional, while the professionals make the food for the events. Everybody's in training. Food level of preparation, of ambiance, of every technique becomes perfected. We have Chef Alicia, who was at one time serving over 14,000 meals per day. We have a support staff, and we're going to put on an amazing program. The people who have already signed up for Culinary Skills Professional have already expressed to me that they're doing so specifically because they hope to go out and professionally make food as a job. If you have that interest, or you want to gain that level of skill, the program is only open to 4 people per session. We could take 6, but it would have to be a rare experience. We expect 4. This is going to be an immensely intense, hands-on experience. Every retreat offers one-on-one time with me. I'm there to meet you, to make friends with you, to become lifetime family with you, to help you grow and let go of the bad stuff and let in the good stuff, as the expressions go. I'll be there every moment of every day. There are classes typically after every meal, and evening sessions, sometimes educational, sometimes just pure fun, but revolving around the subject matter of that week. The events max out at 18 guests, and normally we take 16. So we're talking about a very small group experience. And even then, for many of those small groups, we'll break you into 3s, groups of 3, 4, 5 people, 3 groups, and so that you can work with people who are specifically at your level, whether that's in food prep, or whether that's in fitness, or whether that's with emotional experiences. We'll customize this thing as close as we can, each event in its own way, so that you feel you are being handheld, you are being supported, you are being loved and accepted throughout the entire event. All of our food and sport summer events are held in Sedro-Woolley, Washington. I know it looks like Cedro, but it's Sedro-Woolley, Washington. It's just north of Seattle. It's an easy shuttle ride, and we meet you at the shuttle and take you to our retreat center. This is it. Cedar Springs Retreat Center, absolutely stunningly gorgeous. It's kept in excellent repair. You're looking at the sanctuary and the back porch and just a view. We're sitting on more than 50 acres, backing up on the Skagit River. I've seen elk in the backyard. There's salmon running upstream, in the stream back in the woods. There's eagles flying overhead. It's spectacular. I just don't imagine a prettier place. And being that it's September and October, we still go swimming in the river, have a blast every day. There's trails through the woods that just go on and on. We have several different facilities for indoor fitness if needed. And of course, when the weather allows, we do everything outdoors. It's a spectacular setting, and I couldn't imagine a better place for running our food and sport events. Nan runs the place along with Michael, and Nan takes care of the inside. It's so comfortable. The mattresses are comfortable, the sheets are comfortable, it's clean, it's feels like just somebody's living room, and we just keep it as pretty and send it home at the end of our stay in even better shape than it was the year. And I can honestly tell you that every year, now this is our 10th year at Cedro-Woolley, every year there's improvements. And I'm discussing right now with the owners the various improvements that will be made this year. I'm excited about them. Of course, you think of food and sport, you think of food. At Cedro-Woolley, we offer all organic fare. 100%. Starting with simple breakfasts and relatively simple lunches, some Banana Island photos. We're still at Banana Island, but we're eating fairly well. This photo is from a Health and Fitness Week. I don't think I need to describe the food. You can just look at it and see. I mean, I'd go back and eat that anytime. That was a memorable meal. Everything we make is done by literally the best chefs in the world. I can't imagine better. The food tastes fantastic. The challenge for the chefs is really hard because at the fitness events, people eat more every day. By the end of the event, people are eating on average almost double what they ate the first day because they've been very active. Engaging how much to make and how many calories to serve and still keep it spectacularly gorgeous is a real art form. But we try. And so far, I've never been to a meal where the chefs have let me down. It's all been excellent. Yes, we will custom any special needs you have. We can handle. If you don't want tomatoes, we can handle. If you don't like cilantro, we can handle. Whatever the special needs might be, if you have allergies or special likes and dislikes, just let our chefs know and they will custom make meals for you with no problem. 100% raw food, 80-10-10. Life just doesn't get a lot better than that. One night, it was a Middle Eastern night. There's a theme for the dinner, and this was opening course. It's pretty good. We sat around, we talked, we had fun, we laughed, we passed and shared. Everything was delicious. You can tell we're having a good time. Well, I don't know if you have that much fun with your family. We had a lot of fun. And we didn't eat any chocolate. We used carob. But we were just as happy. And Kevin never looked better. I've run retreats one-on-one. I've run fasts one-on-one, and I've done retreats in groups of all different kinds. I've done a lot of personal training with people one-on-one, and I can honestly tell you that the group experience is so powerful and so wonderful and lasts so much more. You take it home with you because you bring home friendships. Not only do you have a fun experience the whole time, as you find the different personalities that fit in best with you, but you're never on your own. If you feel challenged, there's people there to support you. We have people there whose only job it is to provide support, to be emotional counselors. Coming to a group 80-10-10 food and sport event will be the safest place you'll ever go. And you'll have a ton of fun and people to have fun with. For me, the friendships are something really special. When I see people at events again and again, they come back just to give a hug, just to have fun, because they couldn't stay away. Sure, they want to learn some more. Yes, they're going to enjoy the food. But they're coming because it's that much fun, and they feel so secure. And this is something that we pride ourselves on. Nobody's going to ask you why you eat the way you do when you're eating around a bunch of people who all eat similarly. And so you can relax and have a good time and get into a spirit of love and support that is rare to find in this world. It truly becomes food and sport family. I think it's easy to see everybody's having a good time and no one is unaccepting. Sure, we play a bit, we challenge each other for our own personal growth, but we also want everyone else to have that same personal growth. Every aspect of the food and sport events is a story, and things are going on in the sanctuary, in the gym, in the kitchens, in the meeting rooms, and not everybody is in the same place at the same time. This picture with the girls skipping with their baskets, I never knew that that happened until I saw the photo. I was thrilled to be able to share it, and still am, to see that kind of joy just coming out. Oh, we're just going to go pick some berries. What a fun thing. I'm going to be offering a bunch of webinars over the next few weeks. A series of webinars about each food and sport event. And I'm hoping that you'll come to the ones that you're most interested in. I mean, that's where I need to see you, and that's where I want you to invest your time. Women's Physique Week webinar on Wednesday, the 11th. Same time as today. A week from today at the same time. You can register for the event if you're interested in Women's Physique Week. As we said, we're only taking 16 and we're full. I already know there are several women have already registered, so there's only a very limited number of spots. If you want to develop the physique of your dreams, if you want to understand how to get strong, toned, not big and bulky, if you want to just learn what it is that is going to support you with food, come to the webinar. Every webinar will start with an educational section. I'm not going to short that because that's the part that for me is in many ways the most important. And I'll be able to put in an educational section at the beginning, and then tell you a bit about Women's Physique Week as well. Wednesday, June 11th. On the 12th, I'll talk about the science of Health and Fitness Week. Again, same time, Thursday, the 12th, where the topic will be sports injuries. Which ones are likely to happen? When are they likely to happen? How do you know how to prevent them from happening? What can you do? This to me is a huge issue. To me, sports injuries are the athlete's worst enemy. There's a lot of things athletes, well, can get away with, perhaps. It's not a big deal, perhaps. But injuries are a major setback, and they can be a lifetime setback, and they're best not had at all. Let's learn about them and how not to have them. Next Saturday, the 14th of June, again, a few hours earlier, we're going to offer the FoodnSport 80-10-10 Food and Lifestyle Retreat. I'm going to tell you about those retreats and why 80-10-10 works so well. There's a science behind 80-10-10. You might want to know a little of the history, where it came from, but why does it work so well? Why does it work so well for so many people? If you're interested in the Food and Lifestyle Retreat, 3 days of intense immersion, you go home understanding how to make 80-10-10 work for you. Reserve your spot with a deposit at foodnsport.com/retreats. The following weeks, I'll be offering events, educational sections for every webinar, followed by a bit more describing the webinar itself and describing the seminar itself. We'll do Banana Island, where we'll talk about the secret for handling all the emotions you have already. What is it? Of course, at the Banana Island, we'll spend a week practicing putting that secret into effect and learning how to make it work. But I'll give you the answers. Culinary Skills Week. I'll talk about my favorite kitchen skills, my favorite kitchen tools, how I use them, why I use them. Most people maybe have a tool, but we'll look into at least 5. Health and Fitness Week. The webinar itself will look into overtraining. And how do you know when you're overtraining? How much training is too much training? It's a question I'm asked often. I find I'm actually fitter today doing less training than I was 20 years ago doing a whole lot more training. Well, I think that's pretty telling. And finally, for the Culinary Skills Professional, for those of you interested in Culinary Skills Professional, if you have interest in being an executive chef at a festival or a big event or as a job, if you want to plan the food, even for a one-day event, and you want to have a lot of people attend, even if it's just a big party, we'll teach you how to be culinary skills. I'll talk about this in the webinar as well. Once, only once, but very